Hey there, and welcome to CIT225 Week 2. I'm Brother Stevic, and I am sitting out here in front of the Hall of Justice, and we're going to talk today about select commands and how they work. So I've created a kind of like a little demo lab there to just show you the different kind of select commands that exist, and I'm going to talk to you really quickly about the different commands that are in SQL, the 7 basic commands that you're going to be using a lot of. We're only going to talk today about the select command, and we'll get more into the other ones later. But today, just the select command. So let me go ahead and just show you this real quick here. Share this out. Share my whiteboard. All right. So there are 2 types. Okay, there's in your books and in your readings, they give you 4 types of command. There's DML, and they also give you something called DDL, and they give you DCL, and there's one other that I can't remember what it is offhand because it's not something. This is book learning, so we're going to do some book learning here because we tested on book learning, but I'm going to try to give you real world understanding of these concepts and things, so you're not like getting into the world like, you know, throwing out terms that no one uses really. So DDL, I'm going to drop down here real quick. DDL is called, goes by data definition language. Okay, data definition language. Those are the commands that create the schema or objects that the data exists in. There are 3 commands that go in this. There's create, there's modify, and there's drop. Okay, create creates the object, modify changes it, and drop deletes it. It's a pretty straightforward set of commands. So there's that. So create, modify, and drop. Create object, modify object, drop object. DDL is a language of creation. It creates things. DML stands for data manipulation language. These are the commands that talk to the data inside the objects. It can't control objects, it can't touch things, it only plays with the data inside. And those are select, insert, update, and delete. Those are the 4 commands that you deal with here. Okay? Select gets the data, insert puts the data in, update changes the data, and delete deletes the data. Again, 4 commands, pretty straightforward, English. And when you see the commands they're written, they're not that hard to follow. They follow a very specific pattern. That's the good thing about T-SQL, there's patterns to it. And when you understand the patterns, it gets easier to write them and understand them. DCL stands for data control language. We're not going to talk about that right now. We're not going to talk about that until probably like week 6 or 7, but just keep that acronym in the back of your head. Okay, let's take a look at the VM. Okay, so let me clear my screen here. And let me clean everything up. Okay. Oops. Okay. So basically what we're dealing with here is I've got a table called Batman. And in that table, take a look at the create statement here. In that table, there's 4 columns. There's Gotham ID, there's last name, there's first name, and there's age. So I'm going to show you guys how to write queries based on that table, and you'll take that information and you'll be writing queries off of your other tables that are in your schema that you're using. But I want to give you just an idea of how to write queries fairly simply. I am here in the console. It's where I'm going to write my queries. I've got my queries written over here. We're going to go over them as we go along. And remember, I can write queries in the Kwrite and bring them over here into console and run them if I just put a semicolon after them. Okay. So we're gonna run a very simple query right now. We're gonna run a very simple query. It's just select Gotham ID, last name and age from Gotham, and that just shows me what I want. So that's what this is. So I'm telling the engine, okay, I want the column of Gotham. I want the columns called Gotham ID, last name and age, and I want them from the table Gotham, and I want you to show them to me. And there it is. No arguments. Just does what you want it to. It's pretty awesome. Now I want you to notice here, there's something called the Gotham ID here. That is referred to as a primary key. We're gonna get more into that later, but this is kind of like a kind of get to know you. A primary key is the default index on a table. You have to classify it. You have to say this is the primary key. And the important thing to remember about the primary key is if you ever write a select statement against a database or against a table in a database, it will give you the results organized by the ID, by the primary key, if you don't stipulate another way to order it. And we're going to look more on that later, okay? So what you need to know now is the primary key will be the default ordering unless you tell it different. So I did select Gotham ID, last name, age from Gotham, and there's Gotham ID. It's all in order. And here's the names, and here's the ages. This is the order because I didn't stipulate anything else. The next command, the next clause we're going to talk about is going to be the where clause. So select tells the engine what columns you want. The from clause tells you what table to pull the information from, or tables. The where clause gives a criteria by which to sift out information you don't want. So here's a real simple one. Get this one over here. Copy this out and paste it over here. Select last name and age from Gotham where last name equals Wayne. Semicolon, enter, no rows selected. So why did that happen? Well, we have Wayne up here and we have Wayne down here, but it's saying it doesn't exist. That's because, as I mentioned in week 1, Oracle is delightfully case sensitive. Because this has a capital W and this has a lowercase w, it don't like that. So it wants to be capital. So we'll go here and paste this out here. Let me copy it again and paste it here. And there's, okay. Copy and paste. There are 2 ways to fix this problem. The first one is to simply put a capital W there because you know it's supposed to be capital W. The other way, if you're working in a situation where you don't know what's capitalized and what's not, and you're worried about that, you can use the command lower and put that around the column name. And what that does, it tells the engine, when you look at that last name column, put everything in lowercase, and then you'll get your result. It'll show it here as uppercase, but where it's here, it's just going to show it all in lowercase. That way it compares apples to apples. Okay? So if you're not sure what's in the column, if you put the command lower there, it's just like you're going to write a command, a query off of like the rental table. And if you're putting a where clause in there and you're not sure that what's capitalized, what's not, put the lower command in there, and it'll return your values because it will lowercase everything. And then you can put your in parentheses in quotes here in lowercase, and it'll return a value. So the where clause comes with a couple modifiers, and we're gonna look at one right now. Paste this here. So we're going to say select first name, last name, age from Gotham where last name equals Wayne or last name equals Kyle. So this is saying, give me those 3 columns from Gotham where the last name is Wayne. And by the way, if there's a last name Kyle, throw that in too. I'm going to give you both as an option. And then I get both. If, however, I did this, and I tried this one here, let me copy this here. Select first name, last name, age from Gotham, where last name equals Wayne, and first name equals Jason. There is no column, no row in our database that matches that, so it's going to come back no row selected. So the and, remember the and qualifier says both have to be met, where this and this, as opposed to the or qualifier that says where this or this is met. So if I repaste that command out the way I had originally, if it wants to let me do it, select first name, last name, age from Gotham, where last name equals Wayne, or first name is Jason, I get 2 results. The other qualifier I have, and I'm going to use this one here, change that to a capital W. So the where clause has and or, it has equal. The next one is going to be like. If we look at this here, select first name, last name, age from Gotham, where last name is like %, lowercase o, %. So what this is saying is the percents are wildcard modifiers. If I were to do this and say where last name like G %, that says show me every last name that starts with the letter G. If I do this, %G, instead of G %, this says show me every first name, last name, age from Gotham where last name ends in a G. But if I put it on both sides with something in the middle, it says show me first name, last name from Gotham where the letter O is somewhere in the name. So let me grab this one and copy it and paste it. Put my semicolon there. O. Okay. Wayne's not there. Kyle's not there. So it's only the ones that have O's in the last name. I can also do this. I put the word not here. Show me everything from Gotham where last name is not like or doesn't have the letter O in it. And it's going to show me the other two. So we've got select, tells you what columns, where, what table, from what table or tables to get it from, where the criteria that data needs to meet to be shown. We can do where column equals, where column is like, where column is not like, and we can also do where column does not equal. So let me show you what that looks like. Take this one here. Copy and paste. So we did that one where last name is like Wayne, where equals Wayne. So I want to do it to where everything but Wayne shows up. I'll put this here, paste it. And all I'm going to do is in front of this, it's the equal sign, I'm going to put an exclamation point. So the equality statement is where last name equals Wayne. The inequality statement is when you say where last name exclamation point equals Wayne. And it shows me everything but. So exclamation equals is a text inequality statement. It does work for numbers because it matches on a text basis, but try to remember that exclamation point equal is an inequality statement for text. Okay, and I'll show you the one for numbers here in a second. So we've got so far where and, where or, where something is like, where something is not like, where something equals, and where something doesn't equal. Next, we'll talk about numbers. So we've got here. Let me grab this here. Put this here. and copy this over. So here, select Gotham ID, last name, age from Gotham, where age is greater than 40. Semicolon. Okay. Obviously, the same thing can happen, or we can do it this way here. Copy, paste it over here. Where age is less than 40. We can also do paste, where age equals 29. And we can also do, and here's our other inequality, where age doesn't equal 29. It brings me everything but. Now, I'm going to jump. So, okay, so that's where we have specifically defined things, numbers like that. So now, what if we want like to do a value, a range of values? Okay, so we got like here, we got like, you know, where last name equals Wayne and or first name equals Jason. What if we wanted to do like where there are like several values in there? We don't want to do like where last name equals this and or last name equals that and or last name equals that. We don't list that out. We want to be able to give an array of some sort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Well, actually, I'm going to take. Let me do the age one. We can do the age. So let's do this way. So I'm going to show you this one before I get to the array thing. Let's look at this one. Show me last name, age from Gotham, where ages are between 14 and 50. So there's another operator. We've got between. There's times you can get away with doing it with text values. It's really, really weird, so I don't ever suggest doing it. But with numeric or time or date or money or any other number, this works like gangbusters. Select name, age from Gotham, where age between 14 and 50. It's going to show me the 4 that are. Okay. Now, what if I want to do like put like I want to know like where 3 or 4 different names were. So I'm going to do paste this back in place here, and I'm going to do here where last name, and we've done equals, we've done not equals, we've done like and not like, but I'm going to use one called in now. And when we do in, we can go here and say Todd comma Gordon and Kyle. And when I run this, it's going to return whatever's in there, whatever in the parentheses. Those 3 names can compare it to that. Again, it's just following a natural, the way the select statement is written, select these columns from this table where this is the criteria. Okay, now, the last thing we're going to look at is this. Remember I said that when I run this, I get everything that I want there, and it's ordered by default by Gotham ID because that is the primary key, and I'm not stipulating anything else. The final clause in a select statement is the order by clause. The final clause we're going to talk about tonight. So I'll paste this here again. Paste and type in order by. age. And now look, it's ordered by the age. The Gotham IDs are no longer in order, and everything's changed. So everything's ordered by here. I also have the option, and this is now numeric order from 1 to infinity. If I do this, paste order by age descending, semicolon, it does in reverse order, so it does descending. By default, it does ascending order, but you can tell it to do descending. So to sum up here, I'm gonna go here back into my whiteboard. Share whiteboard. Okay. Get rid of all this stuff here. And let's do this. So the anatomy of a select statement is select, and whatever column names go here. From whatever tables you're selecting from. And I did say tables because obviously you're going to combine tables, but that is not for a couple weeks. And then we get to the where clause. And the where clause, put a space here. And the where clause is the stipulation. It tells you, it tells it to what criteria to pull the data back from. So under where we have where equals, we have where is like, where it's like. We have where, I'm trying to do this better way so you're going to follow this along. So where, and then step close, where equals, where is like, where not equals, just trying to make it look right. Sometimes I miss being in an actual classroom where I can draw on a whiteboard, so that's kind of what this comes down to me for. Where equals, where it's like, where it's not equal to, where it's not like, and where it's between, where it's greater than, where it's less than, or later than, where it's less than, where it's greater than, and where it's not equal to, or where it's between. Or where it's in. So the where clause, and we also have and or for multiple from where clauses. So the where clause has a lot of different modifiers to it. And that, if memory serves, that's pretty much all of them. So where column is like, is not equal to, is greater than, less than, not equal to, between, in, so on and so forth. And then you can have multiple where clauses with an and or. Where last name equals Wayne, or age is between 12 and 30. Mix them up any way you want. Then finally, we have our order by. And that's just another column name. And that tells you how to sort it. So select from where, order. It's the theme of what I've been saying tonight is that this is not terribly difficult to follow the flow of this. When you get just grasp it this week. So your lab this week is to write a number of queries. I think it's 8 off of the tables you have, items and so forth. You will use the select from, you will use the where clause, you will use the in modifier, you will use a like in the between. All the stuff that I've shown you are what you're going to use this week. Please remember that. Please remember to submit the .SQL file and the .text file, so I can look at both of them. And real quick before I end this, I want to just cover with you. I want to talk to you real quickly about how the engine actually parses the select query when you write it, because it may not work the way you think it does. Let me grab my little drawing tool here. And can I draw? Draw my drawing tool. My drawing tool. There we are. Okay. So, I'll do that. You've got your select statement, you've got your from statement, your where, so you get the select, from, where, and order by clauses. So you've got this one. So which one do you think goes first? When you write the query, which one do you think goes first? If you said select goes first, that is incorrect. Select does not go first. The first thing that runs is the from clause. That is because when data is manipulated or modified in any way, it has to be in active memory. It can't be sitting on the disk drive. So when data is at rest, it's sitting on the disk drive. It's sitting on the hard drive. It can't be touched. It can't be modified. It can be looked at, but only when it is brought into active memory or RAM or whatever you want to call it. So when you're writing a query against the database and you want to look at the data or modify or do anything to it, you've got to bring it into active memory. So how that happens is when the query is run and you hit that semicolon enter or however you're running it, it looks and says, okay, we've got a from clause. We're using this table. Go get everything from that table. So in the case of the exercise I was doing today, it goes to the Gotham table and pulls everything from Gotham off of the hard drive and puts it into active memory so it can be manipulated. So it's all sitting there. Then the next thing that goes is the where clause. So all the data from the table is sitting in memory. It's saying, okay, we don't need this stuff, delete it. So it goes through the where clause, and whatever the where clause is, let's look at one of the, well, they're gone now. So let's, let me write a quick one here. My text back here. So select Gotham ID, comma, last name. From Gotham, where last name like okay. So it's going to pull all the info from Gotham, and then it's going to pull. Then it's going to look at it and say, okay, show me all the last name, show me everything that starts with a G, and get rid of everything else, and it will delete everything else. And then it will then go to the select statement and then present the information, because it's just, I just need these two columns. So it's going to say, give me everything from Gotham. Okay, great, I got it. Now find every place where last name is like G, get rid of everything else, we still have all the columns. And then it says, okay, just give me Gotham ID and last name and throw everything else away. And by the way, Gotham ID is the primary key, go ahead and sort it by that. And then it's done. If you throw an order by clause in here, okay, the from statement goes first, the where statement goes second, the order by goes third, and then the select statement happens. So even though the select part of the query is the first thing that's there, it is actually the last thing that happens. This isn't for your test. This is just the more you know kind of thing. I find it terribly interesting. Okay, so that ends that. So let me end my full screen session here. Let me make myself bigger if I can figure out how to do this. Huh. Okay. Oh, stop sharing. That's what I do. Stop sharing. There we are. Stop sharing. There I am. Okay. Good. Okay. So, good. That covers everything for this week's lesson. Again, please remember to turn in your .sql, .txt files, upload them. Please remember to do your weekly quiz. The questions are changing every week, which reminds me, the number I'm going to test you on today is 76.37. That is an answer on your quiz, 76.37. So when you see that question, you'll answer it because you've watched the video. If there are any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to me or the TA and get them get answered. Don't get stuck. If you still having problems with your VMs, please let me know as soon as possible so we can get that squared away and get you moving forward. This week's lab is pretty easy. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I will talk to you soon.